जी जी जी, इट इज स्टार्टेड। आप एक बार देख लीजिए, ठीक है। जी ओ जी, तो आप मुझे कॉल कीजिए।
फोन नंबर।
बिल्कुल 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 बिल्कुल, ओके ओके।
ये एक्सपांड।
It's actually live. You can actually start now. And this is where you will get comment. Just give me a second because this is where you will get all the comments. Okay.
Yeah.
Hi. Yeah. Just ask whether they can listen to you or not.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Hello.
Uh-huh. They won't speak anything. You have to say, can they hear
Hello.
you?
Can you hear me?
Yes. This is the Arif. There are comments coming now. They are saying,
Comments.
look in the left side of the screen. Hello, sir. Good evening.
Hello.
I don't.
Good evening.
Can you hear my voice? Just ask them once. Can you hear me? Ask
Can you
them.
hear me?
Saying good
वहाँ
evening.
से response नहीं आ रहा है।
वहां से कुछ नहीं बोलेंगे. It's only you who's going to say. Everyone, you are live now. Yes. लिखा है. Okay, you can start.
Hello.
They won't reply anything. They will just only type. You are live now.
Hello.
Yes. Start.
So good evening, viewers, all the
Okay.
participants. Uh, I am Dr. Kar from Devi University, Indore, working as a professor in Life Science Department. Well, I must thank first to Dr. Sailendra Sharma, Uttam Kamarji, and others for giving me this opportunity to talk to you people. But this time, what I have done is I have selected a topic. Of course, it is related to zoology, but with a twist. The reason is that as a geologist, we used to work, we used to study, we used to know more about the typical sort of animal systems of the animals. However, nowadays a new system or new field is coming, which is growing almost every day, you can say, that is your plant science amalgamation with the animal science or the zoologist. So normally, if you think of my topic, which I had mentioned, that innovations in plant science research, that is by a zoologist or by the zoologist. Now, when I say innovations, this is basically related to the research, something new, or finding something new in in the plant sciences, if you take it ordinarily. But what I mean that using the plants, if you can do something good or something new, right, which can be used for the humankind, then it becomes more important. Although, we are basically zoologists, we should work on animal system. So normally, if you have, you might have read, I'm sure you might have read in plant ecology or the plant environmental science or in general environmental science, and that the plants generally hold a major part in the ecosystem, because entire world, entire ecosystem, if you divide, obviously it is divided into two groups, particularly one is plant kingdom, another one is animal kingdom. So plant kingdom, when you talk the plant kingdom, again there are two different types of plants. One is your cultivated plants, right? Or normally we generally consider that agriculture plants or the horticulture plants, and another one is wild plants. So normally the research activities which are going on plant sciences, generally they are restricted to your agriculture science, particularly say crop science or agronomy like this. And then secondly, horticulture, fruit productions and all other things. So basically these two are the most important field in purely plant science research. But our point that since we are zoologists or we are basically from the animal science background, we should also think that how we can use the plants resources for the humankind as a zoologist. So we have to deviate a little bit from the traditional zoological research. And in fact, I am interested to emphasize more on the research how we can do using the plants. for different benefits of the humankind. Normally, if I ask you, almost everybody will answer one thing, that is, we should go for plant based drug development. That's the main thing. Or say Ayurvedic research or the crude extract, its importance in biological sciences, in importance in the medical sciences. That is the only one. Well, that is one of the most important aspects in which we are also working at present on different aspects of biomedical science, particularly how to develop the drug or the process towards the development of a drug. In fact, I have worked mostly on three different diseases. Say my primary disease, that is most important for me, or I have been doing since my PhD long back. That is your um, thyroid research. Thyroid research. So on thyroid aspects, if you go to the literature on the thyroid aspects, you will find that huge amount of literature is available, and it's not now only. Even people have been working since last ages on thyroid. Even we have a book by Werner that costs around 11,000 rupees. It's entirely on thyroid. So in endocrinology, you must have read on thyroid that it is a very small gland situated in the trachea sides. Details you can go to the books or go to the internet. But the hormones, the two basic hormones, T4 and T3, which it secretes, they have major role in our metabolism as well as in different functional aspects of our body. So obviously, the any person who suffers from hypothyroidism or hyperthyroidism, then it can affect its body entirely. At least in the long run, one will suffer severely out of that. And particularly out of these two, let me tell you, hyperthyroidism is very, very dangerous. Of course, many people suffer from hypothyroidism. That is less secretion of thyroid hormones, T4, T3, and then high secretion of TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone or thyrotrophin. But the thing is, the drugs are available or not. Yes, we have drugs. We have conventional drugs. If you go to a doctor, if you're clinicians, they will prescribe you some drugs which are routinely used. But those drugs are basically known as allopathic drugs or the conventional drugs. For example, in case of hypothyroidism, we use what? That is altroxin. Okay. Now, altroxin or thyroid norm, that is nothing but the LT4 or sodium salts of LT4. That is thyroxine or T4, LT4. L is the form. Now, this drug, similarly for hyperthyroidism, we have PTU, we have neomarcazole, you have methimazole, all these things. But do you know that these drugs, these prothyroidic or hypothyroidic drugs, if you use for a longer time, they may bring reverse effects, so they may bring adverse effects. And I have found many persons, they come with complaint, sir, we have been using these drugs since last many days, and now the doctor is still asking me to continue this drug, but I am having this sort of problem. I am not able to sleep, I have this problem, I have nervousness, and I have many other problems. So I just ask them to bring your report, or you just mail me your report. I'll go through it, and please come with your present day symptoms. And surprisingly, you can't imagine that I find that they have some sort of reverse problems, which generally they ignore. So the question is, what I want to emphasize here, that if you are going to use the conventional medicine for a long time, they are going to be harmful. Certainly, they are going to be harmful. So what is the alternative then? When I was in UK under Commonwealth fellowships, I had joined in a complementary and alternative medicine department, okay, in Exeter. There, what they emphasize that instead of conventional drugs, we should go for the typical plant-based drugs, the Ayurvedic drugs, you can say. And on Ayurveda, India is very famous. Since ages, we have been using Ayurvedic drugs. The basic difference between the Ayurvedic drugs and the modern drugs is that these are modern drugs are primarily based on the active components, or say they are synthetic drugs. So obviously synthetic drugs are harmful. Now, even if you go to the active components, if you use little more amount of the active components, they become harmful. because there is a narrow window point. Window point means that you cannot exceed certain amount. If you exceed that amount, it is certainly going to be harmful. Even Ayurvedic drugs, let me tell you, even Ayurvedic drugs, if you go, if you take more amount than the prescribed amount, if it is not well standardized, then obviously you can suffer from different problems. And we have found so many side effects with the Ayurvedic drugs also, particularly even if it is not visible from symptom point of view, but at the liver or in the kidney, certainly they are going to be effective. They have adverse effects. So in long run, certainly kidney will be damaged and the liver will be damaged. So no need to go for excess amount of that. But particularly for the active compounds, they are highly toxic if you consume them in excess. Now coming to the plant uh, things, plant products. Now that many plant products are useful. In fact, most of the plants are useful. You know some of the common plants. Even at the age of this corona age, you can say, or in this time when we are talking more about corona, obviously many people are talking that okay, you can boost your immunity by using tulsi, haldi, then giloy, and many others, right? So these are all plant-based products. Obviously they have some positive effects, but I doubt that if you consume them also in excess, they may have adverse effects. Now my point is that I have a suggestion for the zoologist. I have a suggestion for the zoologist that you should you should uh, work, but you should work properly so that we must have a safe dose or safe concentration so that people do not suffer from different adverse effects, right? Normally, these are in short, it's known as drug adverse effect, DAE, drug, drug adverse effects or the side effects. So we have to also see the side effects. Now, let me tell you how we can plan properly on the biomedical science. Now, what we do, say for example, in case of thyroid problems, what we start, how do we start with that one? First thing is that there is, when there was no report on thyroid, what we did that we first tried to see the symptoms based useful plants. That means we know the thyroid functions, that thyroid regulates different your body functions. So some reports are already there that some plants they may affect or they may help in respiration, in your digestion, in your brain power, in your masculinity, in different aspects. Now, in all these aspects, thyroid has a positive role. Now, once we know that these are acting in, all these functions, different functions, which are indirectly related with thyroid function, then we started experimenting on those plants. First, we started experimenting on the crude extracts. The first step which generally is required, that is you have to work on the crude extract. Now blindly we cannot go with the crude extract. That is, as many Ayurvedic people do, they keep on trying, but they have standardized to some extent. Even on the crude extract, whether we should go for ethanolic extract or methanolic extracts, or what percentage of ethyl alcohol will be used for extraction, or simply it is a decoction, or it simply uh, it is an extract, aqueous extract. So you have to either standardize those things one by one, or what you have to do is you have to find the literature. So you find the literature first, that which extract is required for particularly this plant, or to extract the compounds from this plant. So either aqueous or the alcoholic or methanolic, whatever may be. So try to find out. Either you standardize one by one or you get it from the literature. So once you get from the literature, then you try yourself. Okay. Normally a success apparatus is used, so you can extract, find out how to extract them, so use particular procedure and extract them. After extraction, what you should do is, then you have to go for particularly study whether it is effective or not. So first, what we generally try with the preclinical models. That is, can you hear me properly now? Hello, are you hearing me? Hello,
Wait, wait. Now it's better.
is it better?
Wait, 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 wait.
Hello.
Okay, remove this
Are you able to hear me?
माइक पास में रखिए, माइक होल्ड कीजिए.
Hello.
Can you
Am
hold
I
the
audible?
increase volume? Nice information, but increase the
Hello. Is it okay? Because I'm not going to get any feedback from you. I don't listen to you, your response.
just write down on the chat once.
Please write down on chat once at least so that I am clear that you people are able to hear me. आप लोग मुझे सुन पा रहे हैं? हाँ जी.
Just a second.
Increase volume. Increase volume.
That was done.
Hello.
Now I think they can hear you. So just keep this mic near and then continue. Okay,
Are you hearing me?
there is always a lag in video, तो वो आपको लेट सुनेंगे.
Abida ji, welcome. Are you hearing me? Lakani ji, am I audible to you?
हाँ ठीक है, you continue, but keep it
Hello.
like this.
Okay, let me continue. I don't know whether you are. Yes, sir. Fine. That's fine. That's fine. I think I am audible. So I was what I was talking to you that how you can go ahead with the plant drug development research. So first you try with this crude extract. So obviously you have to search literature in volume again and again. You have to be very sure that this is the particular literature or this is the particular process which you have to use, and then you standardize your own. Maybe there will be minor difference, but you can standardize that one very nicely. There will be no problem. Now, once you standardize, then you try with the animal models, right? Animal models means normally which animal model we should use. Normally, we start with mouse or with rat. Okay, mouse is a smaller model that can be easily handled, and particularly, I'll suggest you can go for mouse, particularly in biology science or in zoology. Many girls they used to join in research, so it will be easier for them to handle. But rat is a better model as compared to mouse. Now, one thing here I have to tell you that nowadays ethical committee is there. They generally give your approval to the research program from ethical point of view. So every institute must have IAEC, Institutional Animal Ethical Committee. So this Institutional Animal Ethical Committee, please remember, because zoologist you have to work. Basically, if you are going to work on the laboratory models, obviously you need IAEC permission. So you have to form an IAEC, Institutional Animal Ethical Committee, and that you have to take initiative because it's your work and it can be done because Ministry of Environment and Wildlife that is to give, so that will be no problem, but it takes little time. You will get minor for registration minor amount has to be given, and then every 3 years or every year you have to continue that one or re-register that one. So that is not a big problem, but thing is that you have to take initiative because nowadays ethical approval is a must. Otherwise, even if you do the work, you cannot publish because international journals they always ask you that whether you have ethical approval or not. Okay, so you have to do that thing. So what I find in many colleges, particularly even in Indore, I find that except IAPS probably, and the colleges that do not have that animal ethical committee, although many students are very much keen to work on animal system, but they don't have that one. So you do that thing, you have to do that one, right? So animal ethical committee will approve. So in that guidelines are there that how to use drugs, how to handle animals, how to keep the animals in the animal house, then how to maintain them, everything. So you need a veterinary doctor, how the veterinary doctor will take care, veterinary doctor will suggest how to maintain the proper health, all those things. This is fine. So once you have animal house, you have all ethical approval, then you can start. Now how to go ahead? I'm telling you the basics how to go ahead for doing the research on the animal system. Now question is when you are going to do the research on the animal systems, you have to find out that animal that it is easily maintained. It can be bred inside the laboratory or inside the animal house easily, so you can maintain yourself. Don't depend on the animal housekeeper. You have to do yourself. That's the best thing. In our time also in BHU we used to do ourselves. So we have to do. Okay, animal caretaker is there, but he will not take that interest in maintaining your animals as you can do. So you have to do that things. That is not a big thing. You must be prepared for that. See, in animal science, doing research is not that easy. You have to be mentally prepared that yes, I want to do research means I have to face all these problems and I will manage those things. So once you decide the animals, then how to select the animals, which animals you take. Normally, we prefer the adult animals. Now, adult animals, obviously, in all groups which you are going to have, they must be of similar age group, or if not, you are not keeping a record of the age group, then what you should do is there should be roughly of equal body weight. So the body weight, say 30 plus in case of mouse, so 30 to 35 or 30 to 32 grams of body weight in each group. That's an average body weight I'm talking. So that, and they must be healthy, preferably of one sex. If not available, then mixed sex you can take, but mixed sex doesn't mean that you take only one female and seven or five male. It's not like that. At least of 5 plus 5 equal proportions you should have if it is mixed, but preferably you should go for single sex, that is either male or female. Now you have established the groups. Now, how many groups you should? That is most important. I find that many people fails in executing the experiments, particularly because they cannot make the protocol properly. So you have to make a protocol first very nicely, which should be, I mean, a perfect protocol. Because if your protocol is good, then certainly whatever results you get, these are more authentic. If your protocol is not good or it is not scientific, then you may not get good results. Even if you work very hard, you work for months together, and finally you fail to get the desired result. That is the most important. So your protocol must be very good. If necessary, you take the help of others. That is why supervisors are there. But sometimes supervisors, they do not get time. You can talk to some persons, or you can consult with some persons who are actively working on the animal models and the animal systems. Okay, so you do that thing, and then you start the experiments. So now you have to find out for how long you should treat, for how many days you should continue the experiment, and what should be the dose. Again, you have to standardize those things, either if the dose is not already standardized. But best thing is that you take out the dose, maybe related to some other functions people have worked, take out that dose, and then best thing is that take one higher dose and one lower dose. Now, if you take one higher dose and one lower dose and the recommended dose which was reported earlier, then three doses are there, so that you can find out whether there is a dose dependent effects or not, or whether the higher dose is going to be toxic, or you can say higher dose is going to have adverse effects. Now, in that case, you can find out the exact dose or exact concentration of the drug which you can consider as safe. So, ultimate aim is that not only the effective drug or effective medicines you are going to produce, but the safe drug, because many drugs are not safe in long run. So that also you have to predict. This is one thing normally it is done. So this is on the crude extracts, and then what next? The modern era, what is emphasizing, that is mostly on the active compounds. So once we did many works on, we have published good number of papers on the crude extracts. Initially I'm talking about 10 years back, but before 10 years we entered to the active compounds. So because we found that unless until we are having active compounds, probably these are not going to be accepted in reputed journals. So that is exactly what happened. So we enter to the active compounds. Well, we don't have much facilities to do work on the active compounds. We used to take the help of SEP, sophisticated instrumentation facilities, for NMR studies, IR studies, all mixed mass studies. Obviously, we took the help of the SAFE, CDRI Lucknow. They charge some amount, fine, we can pay, because we cannot have all the big instruments, we don't have that much grant, so we take the help of SAFE, and they charge a little bit and we pay that one. So finally we got. So we identify the compounds. So because unless until you identify the compounds, active compounds, you cannot say that this is going to be a best drug. So that part which we have been doing, recently, and we have published many papers on, particularly on thyroid, and mostly on the regulation of hyperthyroid. I used to give talk in many seminars and conferences on thyroid. You must be, otherwise you can just go to pubmed.com or NCBI. There you will find, if you put Anand Kar or A Kar and Sunanda Pandey, you will find lots of literature on that aspects. that what are the different compounds we have found. Recently, in last 2 3 years, we have even published in nature.com, particularly scientific reports of the nature.com group, saying many papers, and after doing lots of experiments and many other, systematic experiments, then only we could publish. But these are good reputed, very reputed journals. And we have published many papers on that. Not only that, even we have published on cancer. We have published on cancer, particularly on the breast cancers. Three of my students, they work two of my students, sorry, two of my students, they are working on breast cancer. One is a permanent lecturer, now HOD, in zoology biotechnology department. Another one is in USA as a scientist, and they worked on breast cancers. And we have found some good active compounds which are working on the breast cancer cure, or you can say amelioration of the breast cancers. Apart from that, apart from thyroid, apart from breast cancers, we have also some publications of cardiovascular system. That is the present day problem, because many people are suffering from cardiovascular problems. And so what we do generally, we induce the cardiovascular problem by chemical methods, and after inducing in the animal system the cardiac problems, the heart problems, we damage the heart, right? Like simulate the heart attack, you can say. We simulate the heart attack. And simultaneously, what we do in another group, we used to give the plant active compounds or the plant extracts, and then we find that yes, they can prevent heart attack or they can prevent the cardiovascular problems. So this is another aspect we have. Even we have done on diabetes mellitus, type 2 diabetes, and we have found good number. But on type 2 diabetes, many people are working, so we have now abandoned that type 2 diabetic control by plant extracts or plant active compounds. We are sticking to cardiovascular problems and also on this thyroid problems. Although thyroid is one of the most investigated gland, or it is one of the most investigated field, you can say, volumes and volumes of literature is there, but still I find, because I love thyroid, so still I find that there is ample scope to do work if you plan properly. This is about how you can go ahead with the biomedical science, particularly one aspect of that is drug development using the plant resources. But another thing, let me tell you briefly, because probably time is limited. Let me tell you briefly. In remaining in colleges or in small institutes, probably this drug development program you cannot easily execute. The reason is that you don't have probably sophisticated instruments, then you don't may not have enough grants also, so that becomes a problem. So best thing is that you should think alternatively how you can do. For example, if I tell you that now under the lockdown time we are unable to do any laboratory work, whether using animal models or any other models, it's very difficult. It's very difficult. We are sitting now. What you can do? How can you utilize our time apart from this teaching and all other things, online teaching and all other things, or say doing some other work, academic work? If you are really interested to do research, you can simply go to the field, go to the wild, go to the nature and work, right? You can work on plant animal interactions. You don't need too many instruments or very sophisticated instruments. You can do work on that. And if you are getting good data, I am sure you will get. I am sure you will get. If you are involved in that type of work, and if you are dedicated to that type of work, field work, I am sure you will get, which doesn't need sophisticated instruments, which doesn't need huge amount of money, but you can have data, you can have some of the good observations which you can publish. That is the thing. So plant animal interactions, which you might have heard, or you might have read in plant ecology or in population dynamics, that how the animals can help in pollination, how the animals can help in seed dispersion, fruit dispersions. So indirectly they are helping. Okay, even how the animals, they can help in crop productions indirectly or directly, right? So there are different aspects of working on the plant systems, not necessarily only on the agriculture or the horticulture. Like sericulture, sericulture is basically a plant animal interactions, you can say. Okay, apiculture, again a plant animal interaction sort of things. So there are different fields. It's not necessary that we should stick to only molecular biology or biotechnology or laboratory based or wet lab studies so that we can publish in good journals. It's not like that. If you're planning properly, if you're dedicatedly working, if your supervisor is good, I am sure you can publish even on the data of the field collected data. So on plant animal interactions, you can work very nicely, very nicely. You can even find good data or collect good observations, and I am sure you can do good work. So again, the talk which I was going on, the opportunity during this time, that is in the corona age, or in, say, if you say in lockdown period, we can utilize that one. Of course it is now summer time, but still you can work on that plant animal interactions. Otherwise, simply you go to the zoo. I used to advise or used to suggest many college students that why are you depending on molecular biology only, which is very costly and which is also not, we cannot compete even sometimes. You cannot compete, let me tell you. Now, you can go simply to the zoo or to the wild, observe the animals, work on behavioral biology. Even on the behavioral biology, you can do good work. There is no problem at all. Let me tell you, one of my students, when I had an animal wildlife project, simple experiment we did. What is the food preference of certain animals? Right? We are working on Sarvas unicolor, right? Barasinga. So this, what are the food preference? Now we just find out that if this is the food, ficus is the food preference, if this food is given in the zoo to the animal, animal will be more happy and it will breed. Otherwise, captive breeding is very, very difficult sometimes. If, that is the main problem in the zoo or in the captivity. So if you provide them good environment as well as good your the field-based data, that is this is the preferred plant, so that will be more beneficial to the plants and animals, and animals can breed well. That is our main purpose. So this sort of research also you can concentrate, not necessarily that only wet lab studies are very, very important, and they do not need much funds or much sophisticated instruments. Only your dedication or your involvement is good enough. Okay, so mm, that is my suggestion to you people, to all the zoologists, that you can study other than the lab work, other than this biomedical science. You can also study on the plant animal interactions, right, in the field. Even in the laboratories, you can keep the animals and then you can study, you can keep the plants and you can study the plant animal interaction also. There are different aspects how to build the nest. Let me tell you, one of my senior colleagues in BHU, he worked on baya. Do you know why baya prefer a particular type of plant to build their nest? And how do they build their nest? Why do they build their nest? What is the importance? You will be surprised from that he found that nest building is just like our house building. The better the house you build, you can attract a better husband, sort of things. Okay, or better spouse. It's just like this. So in the animal system is also it is like this. In some animals, particularly I'm talking the baya, it is like that. So there are very, very interesting things we can publish. So zoology is not restricted that we should work only on fish or in birds. Birds now it's very difficult, or in poultry, or in say hydrobiology, or in limnology, or in some other aspects which are easy. We have to deviate our thinking and we have to go little unusual. Let me tell you, unusual. So the traditional system you have to leave, go little unusual. I am sure you will be able to publish. Okay, so with these words, I thank you all. I wish all the zoologists, all the participants, that they will take interest in the research, and I am sure they will be they will be able to do good research and contribute good work, so that we are finally known as good zoologists. Everything needs proper planning, proper executions. Of course, funds is required, but funds is available. It's not that big problem. Little bit fund will be available. There is no problem. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you all.